today.
Yeah. Getting that pool in, huh?
Yeah, someone has to do it.
When are they supposed to have the install complete? Any idea? I know things can change.
Don't know.
Yeah.
I'll let you know completely after they rip up our yard in case they find something.
I know, it can take a couple months, right?
Well, we're old part. Yeah. Well, on average, like I've heard some people get it done in 36 days. Some people get it. One guy I just heard took 8 months to have his pool done.
So what year was your house built?
1950.
So is there a septic in the back somewhere?
Nope.
Nothing they're going to run into?
We have sewer in the front.
Oh,
God, I wish there is, because then they can get that shit out if there was one back there. I'm hoping they can find gold back there. Come on, keep digging.
Yeah. Huh? Mineral rights.
No, last time we ripped up the backyard, I did that years ago because it had 1960 concrete, 1970 concrete, you know what I mean? They built all these different pads and it didn't drain properly. So I ripped it all out because originally I had it designed a pool to go back there. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to spend the money. Plus then like a year later, met Marcia, got married, the whole thing. And so it was like, and we moved into her house. And so I'm like, okay, just put the grass where the pool would be, re-pour all the concrete. Let's make the steps better, make everything better. And that's what we did.
Yeah.
And then since then, you've realized who did your concrete and other issues you have. Like, they poured it around a plastic pipe and that pipe is now leaking and I got to rip it out anyway. So, stuff you don't know that you know now.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll let you know. I'll let you know on Tuesday.
Cool.
How long it's going to take. It's going to take a while.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be done. Where are we in September? We're in October.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be like November. I can get my pool. So I'll use it for the cold swims.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get that therapy in. All right. What are we talking about today? I know everybody's asking rates. Rates are just, they keep going up and down, up and down, up and down. They're going to be very volatile for a while. I mean, this is normal. I talk to a lot of people who don't understand that this is normal. Rates move like this all the time. It was AB normal. If you know Young Frankenstein, you don't know that movie either. No. Yeah. Okay. We'll move on. It's just unique during the pandemic, how they just went down and down and down and stayed in that area and didn't really go up much or down or this or that. And now it's like fluctuating, 60 basis points today and down 60 basis, the whole thing. So it's just, that's how it's going to be. So don't freak out. If you're good with your rate, lock it, move on. And then you're going to be refinancing anyway. So,
So one thing I wanted to ask you about, obviously this is your wheelhouse, is there's
it's time to go.
Oh,
time. Got to go pick up the kids.
Have a great day.
Did you leave one somewhere?
I don't know what that alarm was for. I have like a dozen in there.
All
right. Sorry. Totally. Oh, yes. So there's this misconception that people want to save up 20%. I know you and I.
Oh, we're talking about private mortgage insurance, right?
Yeah.
PMI. Yeah.
Yeah. So
we're not talking about FHA. We're talking about conventional.
Yeah. And
so I just want to make sure everybody understands what we're talking about. All right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But so you had mentioned about paying off the PMI, right? And some people are like, well, I'd like to be at 20%, but if we're chasing a market that's going to continue to appreciate, right? Yeah. Like, I mean, how long is that going to take you, and will you ever actually get there, right?
Well, I'm sure they'll get there, but by the time you get there, you have the house values going up. We're still going up, over 10%. I'm sure we're going to see, we're still around 19% last I saw, probably come out 18%. That's appreciation in a home year over year. Even 10%, right? If you're going to buy, 400,000, I assume that's the average right now. Mm-hmm. That's $40,000. Your house is going up a year while you're trying to save 80,000.
Yeah.
Right? So
yes. Tell me about paying off the mortgage insurance.
So what you can do is two ways. You can actually have the mortgage insurance in the rate, meaning that if your rate was going to be 5%, you have no mortgage insurance with a 5 3/8 rate or 5.5. I just, as an example, I'm not stating these are what the rates are. I'm just showing an example. You can raise the interest rate and then you don't have it because you're buying it out through the interest rate. The other way you can do is you can just, whatever the dollar amount is, you can actually pay for that out of, you can have the seller, any closing costs from the seller pay for that to go away, or you can pay for that yourself. I'm seeing a lot of TikTok videos and people talking. I heard that if I'm putting 10% down, I put not 8% down, buy out my mortgage insurance. Yes, you can do that, but you got to make sure that it makes sense. And the reason I'm saying this is, if you were never ever going to refinance, never ever ever, then it makes sense. But if you're going to refinance, if house values, at least if you're putting 10%, appreciate 10% this year, right? In a year from now, you probably refinance. In a year and a half, you're going to refinance, and then you're going to just lower it automatically, and your payment's going to be so much more. A lot of people look at, well, then I paid mortgage insurance and I don't get that money back. So you have to run the numbers to see if it makes sense, right?
Off the top of your head, could you tell me what it is on? No,
because you didn't ask me ahead of time.
Okay.
I didn't know that's it's going to be thousands of dollars. It's not like $100.
Oh, yeah.
It's thousands. So it depends on the size of the loan, depends on how much it is, and all that down payment. If you're doing 15% down, or if you're doing 12% down, or if you're doing it 10, it'll have different numbers.
Yeah.
It depends. So you talk to the lender you're working with and say, what would it take for me to buy out my mortgage insurance? A lot of times they're saying 1% to 2%. So think about that. If your loan amount, if your loan amount is $350, that's $3,500.
Yeah.
So it could be, $7,000. That's what I'm saying. You got to run the numbers to see if it makes sense to do it. A lot of these people who are throwing out ideas on TikTok are trying to get views. They're not really looking at their stuff. They say stuff that we get in trouble for.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is like, we got this new hack. All right. You say you're going to buy the house as a primary resident, and then you rent it out.
Oh man. Some of the stuff people have told me is like when they come through open houses, I'm like, don't do that.
It's like,
that's loan fraud.
Right. So these new hack, that's not a new hack. That's just a new way of, it's like that one company who said, hey, we got a new way of doing housing. We will buy your house from you, but then used all the old type of deceitful things to, lie to you.
Yeah.
There's things that we've all seen that people these days who are new and younger have never seen it. So it's new to them. So talk to somebody who's been in the business. They'll tell you when they got in trouble for that and how they got in trouble for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and what I think about, say someone's, trying their darndest to save at the 20%, but obviously it's a slow crawl, right? You got to be very disciplined.
If you're going to put 10% down, your mortgage insurance is probably $70.
Well, so what I'd like to see people do is, like you said,
talk to us.
But like come in and have some money that you can save in the bank for a rainy day fund, right? Because if you're going to save the 20%, that means you're putting everything down that you have, right? More than likely. And that leaves you with no reserves, no, economy got, changed and I got laid off. All of a sudden I'm looking for another job. You don't have a couple months of of finances saved.
I've had many people. So I have a good friend of mine. She's agent up in the foothills, and her daughter came to me and said, hey, I want to put 20% down. And she knew I was going to tell her no.
Yeah.
She knew I was going to tell her no. And then she's like, I went through the scenario. And she's like, okay, you're right. Yeah. Why? I mean, I think the mortgage insurance, and I'm not saying this is her, but it's an example, right? Yeah. Was only like $51. I'm like, how is it $51? Take 10 grand divided by $51. It would take you 30 years to pay yourself back that 10 grand at $51 a month.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? You follow what I'm getting at?
Absolutely.
Keep the money. So if you have 20, I don't want you to put it down. If you have 10, let's run the numbers and see if you want you to keep 5 of it so that you have money for a what if like you just said, I just lost my job. No one ever thinks it's going to happen, but it happens.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of people that's why they don't get into home ownership, because they have an insecurity about losing a job, right? And it's like, you're going to find another job. Right. You're going to miss an opportunity to buy a home if you keep waiting for the perfect opportunity. It's like having kids,
That's a commitment issue is what that is. That's exactly what that is.
But like people are like, well, I want to make sure I have the perfect job, and I want to make sure I have enough money saved, and I want to make sure I have the right size house before I have a kid. And then next, that ship has sailed, right? Same is going to happen with housing, because we always talk about inventory being low and it's going to get worse.
Well, inventory's up a little bit right now, which is perfect time to buy as rates start to come down into this year, unless they come up with some other Inflation Reduction Act and make it worse. The only way to get out of this is stop spending, don't tax, this kind of stuff. But we're not politicians. We actually work for a living.
Well, yeah. What I'm going to say right now, there's a mentality shift, right, that's going on, that as a buyer you can take advantage of in this market, because sellers are coming off of the last 2.5 years of like, I'm going to put my house on the market, I'm going to beat up every buyer, I'm going to get competing offers, and they're seeing now a lot of price reductions, longer days on market, and so they're going to be more willing to accept someone who's a fairly solid buyer right out of the gate. If they're out on the market for 14 days and you're the first offer, they're going to work with you.
Right. And you have to understand you're right. Cause they're coming off of this, having total control to now they don't have the control. Now everybody, I keep saying the word kinder, gentler time. It is it's where we are. Houses will sell within a short period of time. Buyer will come in and buy that house and get some money for closing costs, get a reduction of this or whatever it is, or repair money that they weren't getting before, which is perfect. So that means that less money needed to buy that house right now.
Yeah.
Right. So stop waiting. Talk to myself. It's all about me today. Talk to Bobby. Give him a call there at 209-550-1087. You can read it on the screen too. Or you can reach out to me at, ask@edparcaut.com. I'm Ed Parcaut everywhere. You can find me anywhere, message me, whatever. We'll help you through the process. If you're saving money, it's great. I'm glad you're saving money. But maybe you should look at buying a house now versus paying $40,000 more for that house in a year from now. And that's only at 10% appreciation. We have been doing double-digit appreciation. And I don't care what it says nationwide. California is unique. Said this a week ago. We're a unique state, period. Whether you like it or not, we're very unique in many different ways, good or bad. But the house values don't go up. As the numbers nationwide, we go up even more than that and constantly.
Yeah. And I mean, when you are, looking to buy your first home, markets are hyper, focused, right? So sometimes it can depend on the neighborhood in the city you're in. So pay attention to the market where you're going to be buying a house in, because like you said, home appreciation, I don't see it. I mean, it's seeing 20 and 30% year over year. I think that's going to cool off, but still, home values are always going to go up, and it's the most tangible asset you could ever own.
Well, and they're not. Let's put it this way: they're gonna worst case be flat and then go and continue to go up, because you can't say they're always going to go up. Something could happen. There's a caveat to everything.
The unforeseen.
Yeah, we're not going to have a bubble. No bubble. I've been saying this forever. Talked about it last year, and now we're a year later, and people are still waiting for it. If you keep waiting for it, you'll never own a home. You're going to be priced out even worse. Affordability is really low right now. And as the affordability increases to where, I should say decreases, where it's more affordable, even though it sounds like increase, that's going to happen when rates start going down. That means more and more people are going to come out of their wherever they're living and say, I want to buy a house. It's going to get worse. Buy it before that happens.
I mean, for someone who hasn't owned a home yet, first of all, the pride of ownership that you have is something that you can't really ever compare to any other house you've ever rented, right?
It's like this: your first car, your first love,
right?
Your first kiss. I'm
going down memory lane right now.
Well, I'm just saying that's what it's to buy your first house, and your agent, here's your keys. Yeah. Which us lenders, we don't get that. Here's your keys. We get, by the way, we fund it and you record it, and thank you for using us. We appreciate it. Oh my God. But you get to be there with them.
So. Yeah. You don't have to ask if you can paint that room. You don't have to ask if you can hang that picture.
You should, though. You should check to see if you should paint that color.
Well, I mean, yeah, I had a neighbor that painted her house periwinkle. Like after we'd already gotten our house into contract, I was like, "Thanks for waiting." Yeah, because that would have been a deal killer for most folks. But yeah.
Well, that's like the one across the street that we used to have. It was blue, and it was a certain blue. Yeah. It's like, oh, that's not a pretty trim color. Yeah. That's why people live in places that have HOAs where you have to get your color approved.
True. I understand that. Yeah. No, trust me. The best example is off of 120. I know I've mentioned this before, but there's a housing development from like the early 2000s. And there's a 2-story house, and it's very basic. It's just stucco, no trim, no nothing, right? And it's hunter green. Everything. Trim, body, hunter green. And it just looks like a big Lego in the middle of this other housing development.
Well, at least you can't. Where's your house at? That big green one over there?
Greenhouse. Yes.
In the middle of a sea of other colors, it's hunter green. That's my house.
Yeah. That's what you.
Well, now everybody talks about your house, so maybe that's what they wanted.
I guess. I don't know.
So, and the reason I brought up ask, because if you're ever going to sell, whatever you do to your house, you should look at it. If something happens, I need to sell my house. I don't want to have to go back through and paint it. Change out that, pink tile or whatever you picked, or the black toilets or the green toilets or the whatever color toilets you changed it to.
Mm-hmm.
Just do a standard that looks really nice that pretty much 90% of the people would want.
Yeah. Or understand if you do something that's like a super, personalized house, it's going to take the right buyer and it's going to take a lot longer to sell your house.
Correct. And you might not get the money for whatever you did.
Yeah, they're not going to see the value in it if you have the Winchester mystery house,
Yeah. And the other thing is, and if you over improve for your neighborhood, just understand that.
Yeah.
And people don't get that.
Yeah.
Like if you're in a standard neighborhood and you put a Wolf stove in and a Sub-Zero fridge, you're probably not going to get that money out.
Nope. Just do it because you enjoy it.
Well, I did it because we had 5 kids at the time. And let me tell you, Sub-Zero keeps the food longer, better. And that's a little spill for Sub-Zero, but someone else would say differently.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
This ad brought to you by
That's right. That's our sponsor today. I'm just kidding. They're not.
I wish, man.
Yeah. Well, someday. All right. Anything else today, Bobby?
No, that's it.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks Bobby for coming on and giving this information. And I want to thank everybody for letting us do this.
Yeah. Everyone have a great day. Thanks for listening.
All right. Make it a great day.